All right, we're going to go through a case study that we did a few years ago, and we thought it'd be great to highlight some of the challenges of a deal that anyone can face, depending on the market condition. So we got this deal during COVID, right at the peak of COVID. An experienced dentist was actually looking to move to a new location. He was currently leasing his space for quite a long time, I think around 10 years or so. So he's been paying rent year over year, and he realized that he should be owning his own commercial space to have more control of the rent because his lease rate's increasing every year. And second of all, build equity in that property while he's operating his dental practice. And thirdly, to have a bigger space to meet the demand of the growing practice. So there was like a couple of things he wanted. So he was able to find a commercial unit and he put an offer on it, went through the financing with his primary bank and removed subjects. And then I think 2 weeks before closing, the deal got declined, and or it was 3 weeks actually before closing. Deal got declined, and it was due to the peak of COVID. There's a few things that occurred in this industry that impacted the loan application, and I'll let kind of Wing kind of take over in that part there.
Well, some of the uncertainty was during COVID. If you guys recall, at the peak of it, dental offices were actually closed for several months. And this is obviously a dental office. They're like, oh, when is the dental office going to open again? When is cash going to pour in again? Suddenly, your good cash flow is not so good anymore if you're not allowed to open. So that's one of the reasons, or the main reason, really, to that they declined a dentist who has really good cash flow. So we got this, like I said, we got this deal from another broker with 3 weeks to go. We quickly put together the package, and then we were able to get a competitive offer within 2 days, I would say. We obviously scout the market for this and see who was still open for business. It was not easy, but we kind of knew who to go to, especially for, dentist or owner-occupied type of loans. So we were able to get them a really competitive loan. Not only that, we were able to get them extra funds for, the equipment, dental chairs, X-ray machines, and for the renovation as well. And the outcome, we were able to get them around 125% loan to value versus 90, which was their original offer. Rates were around 3.5%, which is quite a bit better than their initial one. Lender fee also quite a bit lower, 0.1% versus 0.25% on the 5-year term. At the end, the dentist was very, very happy that we were able to source them a lender in such a short amount of time. We were to close just on time. Obviously,
That was tight.
the
Yeah.
legals were very, very tight because we got them the legals within like maybe 4 days of closing. But we were able to get our lawyers that were really, really good, who worked overtime during COVID, and we were able to close this transaction right on the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, 2 weeks was tough, I think, because even on the legal side, typically we need at least say a week for the commercial
Yeah,
lawyer to
this
work on
was
the
like a
legal.
couple of days. I guess they did during COVID, no one had
Everyone's working from home
transactions, so
too.
they were
Yeah.
really, really concentrated on this one, and they were able to get this one done
If
pretty
you
quick.
recall during COVID, I think we have friends in the industry where they couldn't work. It was completely closed because I think it was an outbreak during one of the dental conference in
Yes, that was the
March.
one that
Remember that?
it was like
Yeah.
patient one, patient
Yeah, and
zero.
then that led to all the practices having to
Yeah,
close for a while.
yeah.
And I think it was, I think the bank, so that's the one lesson we learned is that on the commercial side, the banks are going to be very reactive to market news. Like, for instance, the recent tariffs with the US, they're going to adjust their lending policy very fast. On the residential side, I find it doesn't move as quick. They will make the changes maybe every quarter, but on the commercial side, it's very dynamic. So if anything happens that could impact the local market, you're going to see those changes reflect in the lending policy. And this is a great case and example. And it's unfortunate that the client had to go through this. The deal's fully approved already, but because of, obviously a really um,
A global
surreal
event,
time in
once in
our,
a lifetime
yeah,
kind of.
unexpected
Yeah,
event, and that no one foresaw and impact that industry too, because during that time with that outbreak, the dental conference, that led to all these practices being, you can't see patients. So then that has a huge factor. And we didn't know how long this was going to go on for. So I think all that uncertainty, the bank probably had to make a choice that, hey, we just can't take on this risk, unfortunately. And I remember when we were looking around, it wasn't every bank was open for business. That they
no,
were
no. We
tightening
still
up.
went to like 8 or 9 banks, and only maybe
Yeah.
2 or 3 came
Well,
back to us. I
yeah.
think.
And then
So
of the two or three, some of them couldn't even compete on the timeline. So I think it came out
timeline,
really
and
one.
we wanted better loan value too, but yeah,
Yeah.
some of them weren't able to beat it, right?
Yeah.
So
So Yeah, that but brought back memories of this deal. But I think it's a great lesson to kind of share that, a lot of times you might be banking with that one bank for 10 years, everything's, rosy, and then all of a sudden it could just take a simple policy change that could mean your next deal cannot get financed. And it just happens that way. It's not like the bank wants to, but a lot of time they have to look at their portfolio, their risk, and then they have to look at, okay, their appetite for lending in certain industry, certain asset class. So it's quite dynamic, what I realize, because it's, today the lender might be okay for this type of loan, tomorrow they may not be. And it's not very constant or consistent. But yeah, I think it was a great one that we were able to highlight and help our client and help our fellow mortgage broker too close on the deal.